This is one of the coolest and most interesting vineyard videos I've seen recently or maybe ever. Check this out. This is a Pinot Gris vineyard, and look at those grapes. On the same bunch there are Pinot Gris and Pinot Blanc berries, and even there are some berries that are half or 1/4 Pinot Blanc and Pinot Gris. Well, this is a very unique and very rare situation. It's quite complicated, so let me explain a bit. So the Pinot family, Pinot Noir, the grandfather of many grape varieties, and lots of its descendants, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, Pinot Meunier, all of these grape varieties have one thing in common: they are very prone to mutations. And this situation is extremely rare to happen. I even had to research because I wasn't sure how this happens, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. So basically what happened here is that this is a Pinot Gris vineyard, so those purple grayish grapes are Pinot Gris grapes, and there was a mutation on this grapevine, but not just any mutation, because mutations are quite common in viticulture. That's how lots of grape varieties were selected through different mutations and selecting the beneficial mutations and basically taking cuttings from them, so cloning those grapevines. But to have different colored berries on the same grape cluster and even on the same grapeberry, that's extremely rare. So for this to happen, there is a very unique trait in the Pinot family that is needed. Basically, grape varieties in the Pinot family are somatic chimeras, which means that there are different genes responsible for different cell layers in the grape, which means that if one gene that is responsible for this is mutated and the other not, then we can get these beautiful and weird grape clusters. In this situation, the VV-MYBA1 and MYBA2 genes were affected, which are responsible for the anthocyanin content in the grape skin. Anthocyanin is the red color, which is in all red grapes. And here the mutation is basically the presence or the absence of this gene responsible for anthocyanin. So on the same grape cluster we have cell layers with anthocyanin and without. This phenomena is also called mosaic berries, where this MYBA gene is on or off, creating this mosaic pattern. Very cool, very interesting. It is extremely rare, but it was documented multiple times in Pinot vineyards. One misconception regarding this whole Pinot mutation family shenanigans is that Pinot Blanc comes from Pinot Gris, which is wrong. Pinot Blanc and Pinot Gris are two separate mutations, both from Pinot Noir. This video was actually recorded in the Mount Richmond vineyard, owned by the Elko Winery in Oregon, in Willamette Valley. And actually this is one of the oldest Pinot Gris vineyard in this wine region, so it's pretty cool. In the whole Willamette Valley in Oregon, actually the Pinot family is quite prominent. I think almost 70% of the vineyards are planted to Pinot Noir, but they have lots of Pinot Gris as well. And they have a somewhat cooler climate with cool and wet winters and dry sunny summers, and it is considered the flagship region of Oregon. They create these high acidity, fine and elegant wines. And as I said, this region is the flagship of Oregon, and it gained quite a huge recognition in 1979. Somewhat a similar situation to the Paris wine judgment, which is a whole other story. We should talk about that as well. But this was a few years later. I think the Paris wine judgment was in 1976, and this judgment was also in France in 1979, organized by the French wine magazine called Gal Milieu, I think. And in this competition, one Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley, Oregon, was ranked the third, beating out lots and lots of Burgundy and Pinot Noirs, which was shocking the wine world of the time. So that moment really established the prestige of Willamette Valley. But yeah, back to our mutations. Very interesting video. Check out the Elko Winery to see the full video of these weird Pinot Gris grapes. Hello everyone. This is the 17th episode of the Winemaker Reacts series, and we are going to continue to analyze and discover some of the most interesting videos of the wine world. Wow, 17th episode. Didn't even realize we've been going so long. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if this is the first video that you see. We have a playlist with these Winemaker Reacts videos, so stay tuned for the next one, and let's jump into the videos. Okay, setting the fermentation tank on fire. That's a pretty visual video. Looks cool. People are curious what is happening. This is basically a disinfection technique for the fermentation tank. They spray ethanol in the fermentation tank and they light it on fire. Very important, this is not a barrel. It's much bigger, and as you can see, the top is open. This is a wooden fermentation tank, which is used for red grape maceration. They put the grapes in with the grape juice, and during the maceration process, the anthocyanins and the tannins and the flavors are extracted from the grape skins. So that's what this recipient is. And this disinfection method is not that common. It is a traditional way of disinfecting these vats, especially in Burgundy. It has its upsides, but obviously it's not perfect. This is mostly used to remove microorganisms from the surface area of the vat, like Brettanomyces, Acetobacter, or Lactobacillus. But obviously this heat and this short time is not enough to like disinfect the barrel, the deep pores. Some people actually thought in the comments that this is the toasting of barrels. Obviously this is not enough to toast the barrel. This isn't even affecting the wood itself. This is just a very surface fire and very short-lived. As you can see, that very thin layer of ethanol burns very fast, and it doesn't burn the wood, and it doesn't even penetrate the pores that much. So for disinfecting like completely a vat like this, it's not enough. Usually they use like high pressure steam or obviously burning sulfur. Those are deeper disinfections. This method is just like a finishing touch and an easy way, very visual, so it's cool to shoot videos about it or show it to tourists. And it also kind of helps with volatile surface moisture, so it kind of dehydrates the top layer of the wood, which is also helpful. These fermentation vats are called foudres in French. They are widely used in Burgundy, in Rhône, in Alsace, in Piedmont actually. And they have very unique advantages. They have thicker staves than barrels. They use them for a long time, sometimes even 20, 30, even 50 years. That's why you have to keep them clean and sterilize them and make sure that they are in good condition. Due to these thick staves, the microoxygenation is quite slow in these vats. And also the ratio between the volume of wine and the surface area of the vat, because of its size, is quite different compared to barrels. So the wood effect, the tannin polymerization, is also a lot lighter. So these vats don't give heavy oak aromas to the wine that is fermenting in them. And that's why it's quite often used for lighter varieties like Pinot Noir in Burgundy, and even sometimes for Chardonnay. So yeah, very eye-catching and impressive flaming of foudre vats. Next video. Did you know that frost damages over 100,000 hectares of vineyards each year? That is more than 400 million bottles of wine lost to cold mornings. And the tools that we still rely on, like candles, wind machines or sprinklers, are labor-intensive, expensive and polluting. That's why I was excited to discover Frolight. It's a breakthrough system that protects vineyards with targeted infrared heating. We were so impressed that we reached out. And now I'm proud to say Frolight is sponsoring this video. So how does it work? Infrared tubes gently warm the buds and shoots directly, activating automatically when temperatures drop. No smoke, no noise, no wasted energy, just smart protection where and when it's needed. It works in the wind, it heats the plant, not the air, it's fully automated, energy efficient and cost efficient in the long run. Check it out at frolight.com and see how you can protect your vineyards the smart way. In my opinion, these are some of the most spectacular vineyards ever. Check out those stones. It's beautiful. This is in the Rhône Valley in France, and they have these magical soil types in the Rhône Valley around the Château du Pape sub-region and some other regions around it. These stones are actually called galets roulés in French, or in English they are sometimes called pudding stones. They have these beautiful rounded shapes. They were formed on the flat terraces of the Rhône River like 1.5 or 2 million years ago by the melting glaciers. But the interesting thing is their effect on the vineyard, because they are not just looking interesting, but they actually define the style of the wines that are made here. These river stones actually act like thermal batteries. During the day, they absorb lots of heat, and during the night they radiate it, which helps with the ripening of the grapes. Besides that, they also limit the evaporation from the soil, they reduce weeds, and by making the soil, the topsoil looser, it helps with the aeration of the soil as well. The three most important grape varieties thriving between these stones are Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre, sometimes called GSM, or when they are vinified in a blend, the GSM blend. And these grape varieties really appreciate the heat reflection from the stones, and it really helps to ripen them. That's how they can produce these full-bodied, warm, spicy red wines with aromas of black cherries, herbs, plums, leather, and the whites are round, floral, and aromatic. This video was actually shot at Domaine La Perre Brune, a family-owned winery in the Rhone Valley, close to Château, and they are growing these beautiful vineyards with these pudding stones, so very cool. If you think about it, it's like ancient river energy reflected back into the grapes and into our glass. Another funny side note, in the comments I saw, some people thought that these are potatoes, and if you think about it, when you look at the video again, it actually kind of looks like a huge field of potatoes and plowing through the potatoes. It looks like this was our last video for today. Thank you for watching. If you found them insightful, consider subscribing, check out our playlist. We also published a new video from Umbria, the story of the Umbrian wine region. Maybe I should point down to the description, so check that out if you're interested, and see you in the next one. Cheers.
Back and I'm better than ever. I think I got a vendetta. Oh, now they call me, I seen them. All of those times getting severed. I told them all I get let up.